So today as I said, we get to open our envelopes and see what sponsor child chose us. And like I said, Spencer was there, so it's great to have you right there, my man in the place, taking a look at what's going on.
Disclaimer: I was representing and working on behalf of World. Pastor Adam didn't just specially send me.
Yeah. So he wanted to stay. Oh, don't worry about it. I'll just do it. But anyway, welcome Spencer as he comes and shares what he did. Go on.
Thank you. All right, as they say in Malawi, Muli Bawanji Connect Church. So good to be here, and Muli Bawanji online. For those that are joining us this morning, sorry you can't be in the room, maybe next Sunday, but if you are, whatever's going on and you couldn't be here, we're praying for you. It's a special Sunday today. It is a disclaimer, it is 11:30 p.m. in Malawi, so I was ready for a sleep in the front row. And I'm just praying that everything I say actually comes out the way that I think it's coming out, because the brain's a bit all over the place. But you know, the last 10 days I spent in the warm heart of Africa, Malawi, where just this week on Tuesday, I attended the choosing party, which was amazing, and 59 children were able to choose their sponsors from Connect Church across the Kapiti and Tawa campuses. As you can see behind me, there's 45 envelopes, and the other 14 are in Tawa. But if you were one of the 45, you will have the opportunity at the end of the service actually to come up here with you and your kids, or however you signed up, and you'll be able to grab off here your name, and you're going to find out who that child was that chose you. You know, it was an amazing celebration that day on Tuesday, and there was a real sense in the air that I felt that history was being made. And I want to show you some pictures before we jump into it of that day. And hopefully they should be coming up on the screen. But this is all the children. That's 148 children were getting ready to choose their sponsors. We've got a couple more pictures if we can just click through. There's all the team there, some New Zealand pastors. You also had the district commander there who came. Because I want to say this just in this moment, this district commander, the government is completely behind what is going on and what World Vision is doing. They don't see them as separate. They see them working in unity to actually see a better future for the children of Malawi, in particular, this community in near Chipeli and in Nsanje. If we can keep going. Here were some beautiful pictures of those before they got chosen and taken off by the child that was going to choose them. Keep flicking through. Here is basically once the children had chosen their sponsor, they basically wrote them their first letter. So what you're going to find in here when you open it up is you're going to find a picture of you and them, and then you're going to have a picture and it's going to explain why they chose you, which is absolutely beautiful. If we can keep going. This here is senior group Chimambo, so she was standing in place on that day for the senior chief of near Chipeli, if we can keep going. And this here is Mr. Dominic Mwandera, and he is the district commander, the head of the council there. What I'm going to do now is I'm just going to play you a video of, it was a drone shot, so if we can just play that. Oh, la, 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 la. Kind of get some context of the housing, and that was the village there. But I woke up the next morning after this choosing party. We had driven 3 hours and back to Blantyre, where we were going to stay for the final night. And I woke up in the next morning, ready to jump on my plane from Malawi to Joburg, and I looked at my phone, and during the night I'd received a message from the very own Pastor Adam, and it read, "Spence, I've been thinking about you coming back to New Zealand, and I'm thinking about Sunday." And I was like, okay, I'm thinking about Sunday too, hanging out with my children. He goes, "I'm thinking that it would just be great. Would you be willing to share?" And I was in that moment wanting to message back and go, "You know what? I'd love to, but maybe next time." But you know, sometimes you're giving God responsibilities, and I feel like something happened in Africa. And he said to me, "Spence, I just want you to share what happened in your heart." And you know, if I'm honest with you, at that point, as I was thinking, I was so impacted by the people, the stories, the situations over there. Two things happened which are very rare for me. The first one, I was completely speechless. I had no words about what I'd seen and what I'd experienced. And I still kind of don't. I don't know if that's the jet lag or what's going on. And secondly, I was so overwhelmed by what I'd seen that there was a moment when the plane left the tarmac of Malawi that I just cried for 10 minutes. It was just a blubbering mess. I couldn't explain why I was crying. I just knew something had happened in my heart, that it was at that moment because I was leading the team over there, that it was finally, the job was done. I was flying out, but something had taken place in my heart. And it wasn't until the air hostess came up to me and I was like, "Man, I need to snap out of this because honestly, there's tears everywhere and this is just frankly a little bit embarrassing." But you know, as we were lining up to board that plane, there was a gentleman, and I don't know why he said it, just an off-the-cuff comment that he said to me, like a throwaway comment. He said, "You know, Africa has a way of humbling you, doesn't it?" And, you know, never a truer word spoken. And that's what I want to talk about today, how humbled I was by privilege and the God-given responsibility that comes along with it. While I was in Malawi, I couldn't escape the constant reminder of privilege we have in New Zealand. The things we don't even think about, the things we take for granted. Like we can turn on the tap and there's just constant water. The power doesn't cut out, or very rarely. You know, the roads, they're safe. They don't have potholes all over them. You don't have both ways, kids and families. Literally, I was freaking out as the World Vision vehicles were like literally this far away and they're just beeping their horn like this is normal. Livestock just crossing across the road. It was chaotic, but awesome. But you know, life is just so much harder. And even those that work at World Vision, they were telling me stories. You know, the area program manager of near Chapeli, which the district is called Nsanje, which it's situated at the very south end of Malawi. It's the hottest place. The locals were telling me that it gets in midsummer, sort of August to December, they go, "You don't want to visit." It gets to 45, 50 degrees. And they were saying, "We even feel like crying when it's that hot, Spence." And I was like, well, I'm glad I'm not here at that time. But you know, the World Vision, the area program manager, he travels from his family in Blantyre 3 hours every week to be there on the ground because he feels called to the work that World Vision is doing in this near Chapeli community. He leaves his wife, his children, and he goes, and he doesn't stay in a place that has electricity. He lives in a house. I didn't see it, but there's no power. There's none of the mods and cons. But why does he do it? Because he believes in the work that God is doing in this community for the betterment of the children, that they would receive life in all its fullness. You know, the average wage in Malawi is 40,000 kwacha, which is 40 New Zealand dollars. Just to put it in context. It got a bit uncomfortable for me. I was feeling almost embarrassed by the privilege, thinking about my life back in New Zealand, and I began to think about how ungrateful I am sometimes when I look around and compare my life and my family's life to those that might have more material wealth, more things, and I was like, man. But what is privilege? I thought I'd look it up in the dictionary, because the Oxford Dictionary defines privilege as a special right, an advantage, or an immunity granted or available only to a particular person or group. I couldn't shake this feeling of privilege. And God said to me, as I was thinking about this privilege, he said, Spence, with privilege comes a God-given responsibility to look after those who have less than. And this is the burden that stayed with me. The scripture I want to share with you this morning is from Proverbs 31, verse 8 to 9. It says this: speak up for those who cannot speak for themselves, for the rights of all who are destitute. Speak up and judge fairly. Defend the rights of the poor and needy. You know, when I spoke here on the 4th of May and the Choosing Sunday, I mentioned that as I'd been preparing for that Sunday and that message, I was praying, and God spoke to me and gave me a new lens to look through. He said, I felt the Holy Spirit say, Spence, you're representing and speaking on behalf of children in Malawi and their communities. What do you think that they would want to say to the people that you're standing in front of? And to be honest with you, I didn't know. But I thought it was a brilliant question. So when I got the opportunity to be on the ground in Malawi, it was a question that I wanted to ask. Our first destination was in the Onga community, which is an area program that's about to enter its final year. We've been working there for 14 years, and before being signed off as fully sustainable, basically in the next year, they're going to be fully sustainable, no longer needing the assistance of World Vision, which is incredible. So in this moment, I was able to ask to the community leaders, you know, my role as a church relationship manager, I stand in front of these audiences that have been supporting and believing and praying for your community. If you could say something to them, what would you say? And this is what they said. They said, tell them thank you. We are so grateful for their support. Because of them, we have water. We have adequate health care. We have education for our children. We've been able to create businesses and savings groups. We now have a belief that even if World Vision leaves, and when they do go, we're going to be all right. We're going to continue to thrive. We're going to continue to build a brighter future for our children. Our children are going to go to university. They're going to become professors. You know, and another thing I said, what's the vision in the next 10 years? You know, and they began to declare, and I did it because I wanted them to begin to prophesy, to speak over their community and declare what God is doing in their heart and what he's done. And this has been done because of the empowered worldview that they train. World Vision trains and equips pastors to be able to teach their people about a biblical perspective, because we know that it's Jesus at the center that brings transformation, that it cannot happen. Life cannot happen in all its fullness until Jesus touches the heart. I want to show you this photo. This guy, I haven't even got his name. I think his name's Tigerus. But anyway, can you put that photo up? This guy here, he's part of the empowered biblical worldview is that they get them to put a vision board. And basically we heard from this guy, and he was telling us about his story that he'd received through initiatives of dairy cows and a goat pass-on program that he'd be able to provide for his family in an incredible way. But this is basically what's going to happen in the next 5 years. So he's got it mapped out that this year it's about gathering. He wants to build a bigger house. He's already built a house, but he wants to build a bigger house for his family. And so he's like, man, in 2026, We're going to get the materials and right through, just incredible. I don't even have one of those at home. Some of the group were like, man, I need to get home, and that looks amazing. Simple, but so effective. And his wife was saying, man, like life is so good now since World Vision has helped us and equipped us with this. And one of the testaments, we had a farmer who actually was on the trip. He's an elder at Mount Hart Elam, and he asked the son that was present, and he said, oh, what do you want to do, when you finish school? What do you want to be? What's the dream? And he said, I want to be a farmer like my dad. I want to continue on what he's built. And what Richard said to me, he said, that is testament, because if this was not all that it's cracked up to be, the son wouldn't want a bar of it. He'd want to run as far from it. But generations have been changed. Through this, I had the opportunity. There's a family here that sponsors 6 kids with World Vision. And as I was heading over, they said, hey, we've actually got a couple of sponsored children in Onga. Do you reckon you could send them a video? And I said, oh, yeah, I should be able to do that. And so if we can show that picture of them. This is Edith. No, not that one. That one there. The two in the middle, the pink and the red, they are twins. And their names are Edith and Brenda. And they're sponsored by the Milne family, Brad and Sharon. But what was really cool, which is incredible, right? This all happens because of people that have said yes to sponsoring. But what was incredible, I was actually able to video call Brad and Sharon and their teenage daughters that had just got back from youth on a Friday night, and they were able to have a full-on conversation. It was so special. Like in that photo that you just saw, there was the grandma, the mum, the auntie, and it was a little bit awkward, to be honest, because I think Brad and Sharon were a bit blown away. But it was super cool to be able to do that. The next one I want to show you is a lady called Majuro. We'll just go with Majuro. And basically, this woman here, she was given a dairy cow. That's what they call them, a cow in New Zealand. And basically, that happened in 2019 when the 40-hour challenge, which was previously known as the 40-hour famine, Malawi was the focus country. And through the raising of that from teenagers, obviously doing the 40-hour challenge, they were able to give this woman a dairy cow. From the production of the milk that this dairy cow produced, she's been able to put her child through university. A little goes a long way. And as I preached in the chosen service, a little in the hands of God, when he breathes upon it, brings multiplication. We attended church service in Onga, visited schools, we visited a childcare centre that basically had up on the thing, sponsored. This was possible because of New Zealand. We're held in high esteem by these people. We saw water pumps and we did home visits. But in the church service, I want to show you a church service, and this is the choir singing. This is embarrassing for us Kiwis because we think we can sing. But literally everywhere you go in Africa, it's like embarrassingly good. And they are just harmonizing and it's almost like them talking, right? Or breathing. It's like, wow. But check this out. For the sake of time, we might. You get what I mean, though, eh? Amazing. Amazing. Where am I? Okay. I'm in New Zealand. All right. But what I want to share, what struck me was hope in this community, belief and vision that this community and its children and their future, they really believed that they were not going to go backwards, that, they were just going to go forwards and things were just going to continue like that. We then headed to near Chapali, and this community is about 3 years old. And you could see that World Vision had already had an incredible impact. So not only did I get to attend the choosing party, but we as a family actually got chosen back in August. And I got the opportunity to meet our sponsor child. And we'll show a couple of pictures. Here's Clements Dyson, he's 10 years old. And right in this photo here, I'm actually showing him my family and introducing my family to him. And just telling them a little bit about him. And when I met him, before I'd got there, we'd received a video through the World Vision sponsorship portal and of him playing soccer with a friend. And in that moment, I saw that his left hand was withered. And I said to my wife, Hannah, I said, hey, I think Clements might have a disability, but I'm not sure. And so when I got there, I was looking for that. I was like, man, just wanted to confirm what is going on here. And as I got closer and obviously met him, it was true. He did have a disability. And so I had a conversation. I met his father. I met his stepmom. And I gently began to ask, what's the story with his hand? And his dad said to me, he was sick when he was younger and for 3 years, and basically the tendons are that weak that he's never going to recover. And this was prior World Vision. Now they do screening. And they were saying that if it had been picked up in the first 1 to 2 years, he could have had an operation that could have sorted it. His dad went on to say that he had lost his mum in 2022. She'd passed away. And then to compound this, I later found out that there was a cyclone that ripped through this community that also destroyed their previous home. As a father myself, my heart began to break. To imagine what this young boy's life was like, the trauma. In that moment, I'm grateful that I was able to pray for him, to begin to declare healing over his hand, to begin to tell him and his family and to prophesy about his future. But I was rocked. I walked away from that going, man, I feel so burdened and spurred on to speak for those that cannot speak for themselves, to be an ambassador to churches in New Zealand for this country. That it doesn't take a lot to make a whole lot of difference. Really doesn't. If you think about that, 40,000 kwacha, $40. Sponsorship is $54 per month. That's 54,000 kwacha. That is someone's wage per month. It just blew my mind. And for those who have been chosen today, know that your $54 a month you're investing into a life of this child is not just benefiting them, but 4 others in the community are also benefiting. You're creating a better tomorrow for the children of near Chapali and the nation of Malawi. I really believe that there's a reformation happening in that nation. It says in Matthew 25, verse 35 to 40, for I was hungry and you gave me something to eat. I was thirsty and you gave me something to drink. I was a stranger and you invited me in. I needed clothes and you clothed me. I was sick and you looked after me. I was in prison and you came to visit me. Then the righteous will answer him, Lord, when did we see you hungry and feed you, or thirsty and give you something to drink? When did we see a stranger and invite you in, or needing clothes and clothe you? When did we see you sick or in prison and go and visit you? And the king will reply, truly I tell you, whatever you did for one of the least of these brothers and sisters of mine, you did for me. In closing, through all I saw in Malawi and the work of World Vision is doing and already done in this nation, I saw the church. I saw Christ at the center of it all. True transformation can only take place in a person's life through the power of the cross. When we understand that our privilege comes with a God-given responsibility to help the least of these, we no longer see the world as them and us. We see it as we. On behalf of the people of Malawi this morning and the community of Near Chapeli and World Vision, I just want to say thank you, Connect Church, for being part of the answer.
Just stay there. Stay there, Spence. Dear, why don't you come up here and I just want to pick our envelope. I was looking for it before. I was like scanning in. Somewhere right here. I said, don't put it down there because that would be awkward for me to bend down while we're live. So this is our one, dear. Okay, we'll take it. Take it off. Take it off. Okay, let's have a look. Feels like the Academy Award. No.
Wow, dear.
Hello, Adam. I like your smiles. Of course, I know. Best looking, always.
Oh, wow. Oh, he's a boy,
It's a boy, yep.
and he wants to become a policeman.
Well, that's a good job. So here we go. Here, this is our. That's our. His name is His name is Dichapo Bezigi.
Chapo Biziki.
Dichapo Bezigi. Hello, I'm Adam. This is Anita. And we have been chosen. Come on. Amen. Come on, one more time. Thanks, Spence. Thank you for representing.